Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I have, as you can see, a Tandem in. So I bought the Tandem as a bit of a project for the channel. So my intention is to upgrade the brakes on this. We're going to fit some hydraulic disc brakes to this. I'm going to take these horrible stickers off it. I'm going to fit a suspension seat post, and we're going to get rid of these integrated STIs to accommodate the hydraulic brake levers and just give it a once over. Mechanically, service-wise, it's actually in really good condition. Been part of an ex-fleet, so it's been serviced very regularly by these guys. Let's see if we can improve it to make it a bit safer with better brakes, a bit more comfortable as well. Let's see if I can sell it again. You never know, I might keep it, but it does take up a lot of room. Stay tuned. MT200 hydraulic brakes front and back. I think this 1.7 meters is going to be a bit optimistic for the back. And 180 front and back. So we've got some 8-speed shifters here. I bought these from AliExpress, pretty much half the price of the UK. They feel genuine, however I do have some genuine Shimano ones in stock, so I'm going to do a bit of a comparison at the same time, weigh them up and whatnot, and see if they're as good as they look. But these look genuine article, half the price. Also got a suspension seat post for the Stoker. So this is a basic ZTTO one. I'm going to put this in on the back. Gear cable for the new shifter is not going to be long enough. This is a tandem one for the rear. I'm hoping I'll get away with the front one, but I might need another one of these yet. I'm going to get these stickers off. These look like they'll just peel off with a bit of a heat gun as well. I'll say mechanically, it seems to be pretty good condition. Obviously it was part of a service fleet for these hired people and was used up until recently, so I think mechanically wise there's not going to be a great deal to be done. It's really just all about the upgrades and cleaning it up. Let's see how we get on. Clamping it by this seat post at the moment. I'm going to take this handlebar off temporarily because I'm going to just end up walking into this 100 times, so I'm just going to disconnect this handlebar. Let's just get this off. I'll say I'm just going to end up walking into it all day otherwise. I'll get rid of it. Obviously going to refit it. It's actually in pretty good condition, the rest of the bike. A little bit of surface corrosion here and there, but actually not bad at all. Okay, that just slides out the way now. That will come out, that will come off. Good. So my intention with the handlebar, as I say, is get rid of these integrated units. I'll keep these as spares because they're in great condition as well. And put some separate shifters on here, and obviously the hydraulic levers for the discs. So we need to strip this stuff off first of all. We've got one bell that doesn't work, so that'll come off. This one is a bit pathetic. We'll put a decent bell on there. I think people need to know you're coming on a tandem, so we'll upgrade that as well. Apart from that, like I say, the actual brakes, and I've not tried the gears, but the brakes feel pretty good at the moment, even though they are obviously all coming off. Tyres in really good shape, knobby nicks on this, they're in really good condition. I did obviously check the wheel before purchasing. They are ready for 6-disc rotors, and we've got a mount on the frame here. Hopefully I've got a mount that we can convert something, get the caliper on, and there's holes for the hose to go through as well, so it should be fairly straightforward. Many spokes in these wheels. What's that, a 48er, I'm guessing? I'm not going to count them, but yeah, a lot of spokes. Good. Well, I'm going to try these gears. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's miles away. Well, this feels like I'm working on two bikes at the same time. It's a bit weird. It doesn't want to go up there. The radio hanger's probably slightly bent, so we'll look at that as well. Not too bad there. And front derailleur, try that. It's a triple on here. That's you working as well. Good. Like I say, I wasn't expecting many mechanical issues on this, to be fair. It's just all about the upgrades. I'm going to take this mud guard off because it's smashed to pieces at the back, and there's not one on the front, so I'll take that off. There's some corrosion on this front gear cable, but it is working. I might need to order another one because I don't think a standard one's going to be long enough even for the front derailleur. I'll try it, but I'd like to get them both changed if possible. Obviously we've got to change the back one because the one with the new shifter is not long enough, not by a long way. So it's the Tandem eccentric bottom bracket here to adjust the chain tension. We don't need to play with that, everything's good. This is the connecting chain. Let's just check this for wear. 0.5, good. And the normal chain, if you want, with the gears. Again, that's in spec, well within spec, 0.5, good as new. Check this hanger for alignment because I say it was just struggling a little bit to get up there. It might just be the limit screw, but I'll check the hanger anyway. There's a fair chance it's had a good few whacks. There are some marks on here. I guess people drop tandems a bit more than normal bikes. Back wheel also has obviously disc mounts. The next thing I'm going to do is just take this mud guard off because it's in the way and it's broken. Just 2 bolts down here, one at the top and one at the bottom. Take the wheel out, might be a bit easier. Just this last one then. It's a little bit crusty down here, but it always is. Not too bad at all though, really. It's off. Next up, we'll get these V-brakes off. Like I say, these are in good condition as well, decent Tektro units. Hang on to these for spares for maybe well maintained. So this is from a company called Rutland Cycles. It's now taken over by Specialised, basically where we are. So like I say, all they're allowed to stock now is Specialised, hence they're moving these on. Right, that's probably taking the braze on off with it. You can feel that when it goes really, really tight like that, that's unscrewing this bit at the same time. But it doesn't matter because I actually want to take them out anyway, so it's saving me a job. It just means it's really difficult to separate once it's out, but not impossible. Right, so let's took that off. That's the V-brake mount is actually unscrewed from the frame. Quite often that happens. I was going to take them out anyway because we don't need these anymore. Take the other one out. It's normally a 9mm on these, 8 or a 9, but that one's that'll fit. And they just unscrew. So obviously these have to be a separate part. It's an aluminium frame. These can't be made of aluminium, so they're always removable on these. I think they're always removable. Don't quote me on that, but it should always be removable. It's off as well. I'm going to try and get some rubber bungs just to put in here, just to tidy it up. You can get nice anodised ones to do this. Take the cable out, we don't need that anymore. While we're down this end, we may as well take this gear cable out because we're not using this again. Actually, it's in better condition than the rear. Sorry, this cable's in better condition than the front one, so I could use this one again for the front. Because the other one, like I say, is pretty corroded. I don't think a normal one's going to be long enough. This one obviously will be. Just cut off the minimum you need then, because like I say, I should be able to reuse this for the front derailleur. That's the result. Disconnect that. It's all frayed anyway now. Cut that damaged piece off so we don't pull it through any guides or anything. Pull the rear derailleur cable through. This is the front one. Like I say, it's pretty crusty, so I'll use the rear one to replace that. That'll work quite nicely. Oh, very nice that. Not. These housings look in good condition there, so we'll leave those as they are. This is the last of the front derailleur cable. It's all slotted. Just pull the outers off the lever. We'll keep these as well. Again, just drop this front wheel out, disconnect this brake. Gear cable's a bit in the way, but we'll manage. Disconnect this. This is coming off as well, obviously. Take the front wheel out. Good. These pads have seen better days. There's a big ridge on the bottom. Take this brake off. These brake mounts should come off as well, hopefully, but probably not when I unscrew it like it did on the back one. But I can take them out by hand. Hopefully that's removable. If not, it's not the end of the world. The Tektro V-brakes are not bad quality really. They are cast or forged, whichever. And don't get the pressed steel sort of ones, they're just garbage, honestly. There's so much flex in them, they just squeal all day long. But these Tektro's not bad. I'll keep these again as spares. Now these are not removable, there's no flats on these, so these are not coming out. They're just going to have to stay there, unfortunately. I say we've got some rubber sleeves that we can go on there. I mean, potentially if you want to get really carried away, you could cut them off, but that's not too drastic. And so we'll get the shifters off next, and then we can start looking at putting some bits on. Right, so these need to come off now. Take the brake cables out, obviously, because we're not using those either. So you could do this upgrade to any bike, really, if you wanted to fit hydraulic brakes, but because we've got integrated shifters, you will need to fit new shifters at the same time. You can't really use these and then fit another brake lever. It's just not possible. I'm going to try and get these grips off in one piece, but I'm not holding out much hope. They seem to be pretty well on there. Let's get this end cap out, really, and then it should be okay. It's lost. I've got thousands of those. Right, now I should be able to get this off. Again, just use something to get under there. They're really tight fit. They're not lock on or anything. You can't blow them off on this one. So you get something under there like this. Then get your WD-40 nozzle in there. Just get some in there. It'll come out. Spin this around just to get it working into place. There you go. That's it off. That'll just dry off and refit with some lacquer. So this will come off now. So I'm going to keep these for spares anyway because they're in really good condition. A little bit of fading on the bracket, but mechanically they work really well. Right, off. Do need to get this cable out though because I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to use this cable for the rear, so I've just got to pop these screws off, pull the cable through. Just 2 screws to hold this cover on, don't lose them. Like that. There's the cable inside, there's the end of the cable there that we need. There you go. Once it comes out, it'll just pull through, no problem. Cable looks as good as new. It's a nice stainless cable, so it will work great. Right, I'm going to get this hopeless bell off. It just doesn't do anything at all. I've got better ones than this, don't worry. Then just repeat on the other side. Grip off, shifter off, broken bell off. Bit of sticky tape off as well. Get it to a bare bar, then we can start building it up with the new bits. So I'm going to look at these two shifters. This is a genuine Shimano one, purchased from Shimano UK, not a shop. And this is the AliExpress. They're both M315s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh them first of all. I think that's going to be key really, and then just a visual inspection. But to me they look exactly the same. The AliExpress version, 136 grams, 135 grams. Shimano UK, 133 grams, 134 grams. So the weight is near enough exactly the same. Obviously there's a tolerance on these cheap scales. Physically, they look identical. There's literally no difference. The font's exactly the same. It's in the right position. It's just exactly the same unit. 100% this is the same thing. I mean, who's going to go to the effort of copying these for the sake of £17? They're exactly the same. So if you do need some cheap Shimano parts, don't get chains. Things like shifters, they look like they're going to be okay. To be honest, I can't remember which is which now. Oh dear. I'll fit one. I think this is the AliExpress one. Like I say, at the time of filming, these worked out near enough exactly half the price of buying them in the UK. So yeah, interesting. I'll drop it on. We are going to need to change this gear cable for the tandem specific one, obviously. Just tighten it up loosely for now. We're not got a final position yet. Same with the left. It's even got Shimano grease in here. Definitely genuine. That's interesting. That is so cheap. It's crazy. £17 I think for the pair. Like I say, they're £17–18 each in the UK. So I'm going to try this front cable, see if it is long enough for the front derailleur. I don't think it will be, but just as a matter of personal interest really. If not, I use the old rear cable. Right, so to get a cable out, there's a little plastic cover here. Basically all you need to do is just undo that. It's only on about half a screw, like that, and that comes out there. Undo this cable. It's going to ping everywhere, but not much we can do about that. Like that. I'll just push straight through the lever. Any easier than that. Right, it's a perfectly good gear cable. There's a spare as well. Tandem cable, obviously significantly longer. I'm not sure, about 3 meters I think, but it's more than enough. So let's drop this in. Again, to refit that, you just look for this hole here and push it through. It'll take a bit of a jiggle, but it comes straight out the other side like that. The only thing you need to make sure is you're in 8th gear when you're doing this. If you're doing that there, you can't see the hole where you've got to go to. So make sure you are. So make sure it's in the 8th gear so you can see the end of the cable. So refit that, you just turn it in half turn, and then it's got a little click there, just locks itself in place. It's only a dust cover really. Add some Shimano cable grease to this. I think this one's going to need all the help it can get. There's a stainless cable though, so it's pretty good. I can start going back through the outers. Like I say, I'm reusing the outers. There's zero friction there. If you feel any friction there whatsoever, you need to do something about it. You need to change your outers, get some lubrication, change your cable, whatever. This needs to be absolutely zero friction. Let me show you. I hold this now, this should fall off. Like that, that's what you're looking for. Any friction in this system at all, you're going to have issues, believe you me. I think it's probably a good safe estimate to say that 70–80% of gear shifting issues are caused by cables. The other bits are bent derailleurs or worn chains. I think you'll find cables are the vast majority of issues. Let's get this through to the derailleur then. It's all Jaguar outers, so it's decent stuff. So there's no RP here, it won't come out of this bit here. Basically this outer is coming at an angle towards this stop. So I'm going to cut this first. See if we can just straighten it up. So it should just come straight through like that. So any friction at all, even that little bit of a kink there, could potentially cause you an issue. So I can feel that, you can hear it probably. And through the next bit, this is a long cable. The piece for the rear derailleur, I'm going to change this. It's just a little bit crusty on this end, and the bit with a sort of a more pronounced curve in it does get a bit more abuse in here. So I'm just going to change this piece. So when you do it, you will end up with a squashed end here. So make sure you get something. This is a bradawl, pick or something like that. Just shove it down there. Open it up until it's round, like that. Put an end cap on it. Again, absolutely zero friction. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but if I let go of that, it literally just falls down. And that's what you got to have. If you haven't got that, start again, because there's something not right. It's never going to work properly. Right, so that's the new cabling. 3 mile walk to the gear lever. Yeah, that's plausible. That looks like enough travel for 1 gear on an 8-speed system. So that's more than enough tension as it is with 2 barrel adjusters. So we're happy to tighten this up now. So I'm going to try this one. This is the one that came with it. I'm going to see if it will reach the front derailleur. I don't think it will. We've got a plan B, so we're okay. In fact, I know it's not going to. Miles too short. That's fine, we'll change that out. With Shimano on their front shifters, they tend to fit a shorter cable anyway. I mean, potentially we could fit the cable that came with the rear shifter into the front one, and that might be long enough for the front derailleur on this one, but I doubt it. So we'll put the old rear derailleur cable in that we've trimmed. Like that. It's slightly more difficult when you're using a used cable because the ends of the new cables are sort of welded over so they don't fray when you're pushing it through, but as long as you're careful, you can get it through. Good. So when you're doing something on budget, just reuse where you can. There's no point in changing stuff for changing's sake. Again, there's no friction on there at all. Plenty long enough. Good. Alright, let's get this through here. So it comes up here, and then it goes over there's a little curved section here, it goes over, and then back down to this pinch bolt. It's going to be a bit difficult from where I'm standing, but I can't stand anywhere else. It goes over there. 2 little points that goes through there just to guide it, and goes back down through there, like that. You shove this through the bottom of the chainstay bridge here, like so. If you shove that down there, you can pull that down and get it nice and tight. So make sure everything's seated properly and you're in the right gear on the gear lever for the smallest chain ring, which we are. If you pull it through here, you can get a lot of tension on this while you tighten it up. Chain ring's in the way. Not used to having a chain ring on this side. Let's go through there. Right, let's just try that lever again. That'll work. Good. And we can cut this cable and put an end cap on there. That's on. Same on the back. They were about 40 millimeters, 40, 50 millimeters. 1.5 inches, 2 inches, I guess. There you go. So next I'm going to fit the rotor to this rear wheel. Give it a quick clean first. So if the bike didn't come with 6-disc hubs, then this would not be, by any stretch of the imagination, economically viable. So you have to get 2 new wheels as well. So I've got 180 on the back. I'm going to put 180 on the front as well. I did consider putting even bigger on this, or maybe big on the front like you would normally have, sort of 70-30 braking, but I'm just going to put 180 on both. The new bolts come with Loctite already in, pre-impregnated. That's a big word, isn't it? Let's get these started. Let's get started. Karaoke. Not. Alright, let's get these in. This is a Milwaukee driver. This is torque settable, so you can set this. So basically what I've done is set this to sort of 4 Newton meters, and then just a final hand tighten after you've done that. So it just saves a lot of time. It's on, and just a final nip up by hand. Good. Right, that's the rotor on. That was easy. So this wheel can go back in the bike now, check the gears work, and now fit the rotor to the front wheel, and then we can start looking at putting the brakes on. A lot of stickers to get off. I hope they come off alright. Back tyre is a little bit on the low side actually, so potentially I might want to change that. I'd be tempted to put slicks on this really. I can't see anybody taking it off-road. Be a bit brave. That's that in. Right, I'm just going to run through these gears quickly. There shouldn't be any issues. Might just need a quick tweak on the cable tension. We might need to set this to top sprocket still. Alright, so I'll just give these a quick go. They should be fine. Feels good, isn't it? Straight up. A little bit more tension. I'll do that on the handlebar one. Back down again. Still doesn't want to go up there. Let's check this hanger alignment. Alright, let's just quickly whip this off and check the hanger straight. There's no point playing with limit screws if you haven't checked this first, because most of the time when a limit screw needs adjusting, it's because this hanger's bent. Well, you'll be pleased to know I've oiled my AliExpress derailleur alignment gauge tool so it doesn't squeak every time I put it on now. There you go. Right, let's quickly check this. I've shown this before in many videos. That's the top. Drop it down to the bottom. Actually perfectly straight, so it is a limit screw. We'll check side to side. It's a little bit out side to side, so we need a bit of a tweak this way. That's not touching there, so I'll give it a quick tweak there. That's it. A bit more. Perfect. Alright, that's straight. So this limit screw needs a sort of half a turn out to let it get to this top sprocket here. Although screws will be marked, don't always presume then they're relative to where they are, because this is actually high, this is low. On this one, it's normally marked pretty clearly. So I'm just going to unscrew that. Probably one turn there. Try that again. Get it straight up there now, good. Nice. Just check my housings are bedded in, just stretching that there. And again. So once you've bedded that housing in, it needs a little bit more tension. That's another turn on the barrel adjuster there. Good. Right, let's get the front ones working. So with the front one, normally what I do, I leave it on the smallest chainring there, push it forward one click without pedalling, and then pedal. And if you pick straight up, normally you're not far off. And let's go to the biggest one here. Not bad. Back down. That's probably too much tension on this one. You wouldn't want that rubbing there, and that's catching the crank. So with the barrel adjuster on the actual shift lever, I'm going to screw that in, because we've got 2 or 3 turns to slacken the cable tension off there. Alright, let's try that again now. Dropping down there, now it's not rubbing on this inner cage like it was. Back down, and then back up. Straight up there. Straight up there. Perfect. Drop down to that one there. So we have got a little bit of a rub there. If you push the lever now, you'll see it's not a limit screw issue, because it's got more than enough limit to go over there. Too much, because it's hitting the crank there, you see. This limit screw needs to go in for the high, because this is fouling on the crank now. I didn't touch that, that's how it came. So that can go in a few turns. I'll push that lever again. I'm pushing that as far as it'll go now. It's too far, but it's not hitting the crank now, so we've got enough clearance. Back down, back up. That just needs a little bit of a tweak. Still hitting that crank there. A little bit more. Not bad at all. So if I click that now one gear and don't pedal, like I said, it's just a little bit sluggish getting up there, so it does need a little bit more cable tension. I'm going to put another probably 1.5, 2 turns on there. Straight up there, and it's not rubbing, so we're happy with that. Nice. Right, gears are done, so let's move to the brakes. Again, I'm just going to throw this front disc on. So typically, big box of adapters, not the right one in stock, so we're going to a 160 on the back, which is probably a more normal size anyway. This is a simple IS mount, so 160 rear, arrow pointing towards the front of the bike. There's just bolts on here with 2 bolts, Loctite already impregnated. Let's just get these fitted. There's an IS mount, post mount, IS mount, flat mount. There's a lot of different standards, so you just need to make sure you get the right one. But there's a lot of information out there to help you. So. With the caliper itself, obviously we're not using this hose because it's way too short. Let's just go for a test run basically. So drop that, put your mount on, drop this caliper over the rotor, and it should sit somewhere like that. The really important bit is the disc is clearing the full pad basically, so you don't want a sort of 1mm section on the pad that's not being touched by the rotor, otherwise you'll end up with a massive lip on the pad. So to get it bolted on, then you'll be able to see from the top and from the bottom that the pad is actually in contact with the full rotor. That's really important. New bolts come with a caliper, a spare olive, which we will need. We might need 2. I've got plenty. Just bolt this up loosely. I mean, you probably can go for full alignment at the moment, but because everything's centered where it should be. Actually, let's just get it aligned. So you're just looking for an equal distance between the pad and the disc, obviously. Right, so there's no rubbing there. That should be fine for now. We'll tighten that up. We can adjust it obviously later if need be. Okay, so that's basically on. Obviously we need to look at the hose because it's way too short. So what I'm going to do is take the wheel out, take the pads out, get a bleed block in here, take this hose out and fit the lever to the bar. Then we're going to run a new hose all the way through, connect new olives and barbs, both ends, and then bleed it. So here's a little safety clip here. Basically just clip it onto the bolt. And the idea being, if the screw starts to unscrew, which is highly unlikely if you torqued it right and it's got Loctite, it will unscrew with it and stop against this and stop it falling out completely, but 99% of people don't bother with these, so if you haven't got them, don't stress. So on these cheaper calipers, it's just a split pin here, so you just need to try and straighten this out without taking the paint off, which is easier said than done. A bit rubbish, but get what you pay for. Right, and that'll just pull out there. You should always replace that split pin as well. A bit like chain links, you should always replace them, obviously every time you take them out, but in reality, very few people do. Just get these pads out the bottom, there you go. Don't touch the pads. So there's a bleed block in there, just hold it in place with the pin. So we're just undoing this nut now. Use a flare nut spanner if you got on this. Is the MWF1. Brilliant spanner, but it is obsolete, so you'll still find them on eBay. Obviously you're going to lose some fluid doing this, but it doesn't matter because we're bleeding the whole system through. So this will just pull out now. And your safety clip pings off. I'll refit it later. Right, so we're taking this off. Obviously we need to reuse this nut. The lever we've not fitted, so we just need to undo this piece as well. Remove this hose altogether. Obviously you're going to lose fluid from there because it's an open system then. So exactly the same 8mm flare nut on there. So that's off, and the nut and the cover just put back in there temporarily. Let's just put this on the bar, then we can run some hose. It does start to get a bit messy now. So this simply just goes onto the bar, 5mm nut. Just set the lever somewhere roughly so the bleed port is level like this, not sort of facing down. Get more air out of the system. Then you can rotate it as you're bleeding it through different angles as well, but there should be a pretty straightforward bleed because as long as you don't squeeze this lever at the moment, all you're doing basically is clearing the air out of the new hose, so it should come out one big bubble and we'll be done. So a big roll of brake hose here. All I'm going to do is thread that through these frame mounts here, all the way from the lever to the caliper roughly, and then get it trimmed to size. So being the UK, this lever is going to be on the left hand side of the bike. On these stops, there's only 2 on the bike that are actually designed for the hose to go through. The other ones are designed for cable stops, but I've got a plan for that, I'll show you. I'm just going to push this very loosely into the lever, and then have a reasonable amount of hose going down here. Like you need to be covering a sort of a full 90-degree rotation of the bar to give you some slack, so we're looking kind of about there. So these stops here, like I say, you can't put a hose through here. You can cable tie it to this frame if you really want to, but I've got a better solution than that, I'll show you later. So just hold that against there for length. There's another stop here that you can go through, and then we're down to the caliper. Down to about here. We'll go to about there, I think that should be more than enough. So that will sit in there, obviously with a new barb and olive. Pretty straightforward this is really. I'll say we'll probably run a cable tie to this part of the frame here, just to keep it out of the way. Once we've got all these stickers off, if they come off. Bag of BH59 barb olives. This is BH59 equivalent hose. Basically, you can get BH90, which is a very slightly different bore diameter. This is a BH59 system. So we'll get this connected in now. So I'll just connect this olive. Important thing is put the nut on the hose first. Then you can put your olive on there. You can put it on after, but normally I'll put it on first. This will go onto the end of that pin here. It's a bit fiddly to get it started, but once it goes in, no problem. Like that. So that's on the pin, and then we're just winding that in there until it starts into the hose, and it'll just push it straight in. And just finish winding that in. And that's it. And that's it. Once it stops there, we're done. Take that out, undo this. A little bit of grease on here. Just a dab of grease on here. It just helps wind it into the caliper straight. It is in the manual. Bottom the hose out there, you'll feel that bottom out there. Push the olive in, get the nut started, and it'll sort itself out when you get down there. So these spanners are brilliant if you can get them. Have a look on eBay. MWF1, they stopped making it, I don't know why. They made a newer version, but I'm not a big fan of it. It's half as thick as this, it doesn't cover the full nut. I'll show you. This is the MWF3, this is the newer one, but you can see it only covers. You can see you're only covering half the nut there compared to the full nut, so I much prefer this much thicker one. Bring back the MWF2. The only reason I did that is so you can put a torque wrench fitting on there, or you could just use a crow's foot, or you can just do it tight, nice and tight. I rarely torque these, to be honest, because they feel just scary tight when you get it anywhere near where it's saying. I've never had an issue yet, but doing it just by hand. Apart from on Magura, you've got to be careful with that with some plastic pieces in the lever. You got to be careful with them. Good, that's in. So we're going to do the same at the lever. So exactly the same at the lever. Keep this boot on the hose. Keep the nut on the hose because you're going to forget that as well. And again, just check it for length. plausibility wise, this looks okay. Once this lever's dropped down, this will tidy it up a bit. It's probably, yeah, I'll probably get away with chopping 20mm off that actually, to be fair. A little bit too long, so I'm just going to chop a bit off. That's because my hands are covered in oil. So I did actually buy some of these brakes off AliExpress as well. These are from Shimano UK, but I did buy some MT200s just as a matter of interest from AliExpress. Again, I compared them to the UK ones. They're identical. And again, just tighten this in. Make sure you put your rubber boot on the cable still, the hose. Don't squeeze the lever, whatever you do. That is more than tight enough. Alright, so obviously the brakes are not going to work yet because the hose is completely empty of fluid, so there's still no point in squeezing it. We need to get this bleed port off, get the one off on the back, and pump a load of fluid through. You'll see a ton of air come out of here. What I'm going to do first is just tidy this hose up. Just slide this back up before you forget. What we're going to use is these little clamp adapters. The idea is it screws into the old braze-on mount and clamps the hose inside it. So they're pretty clever. I'll show you how you do it. There's a tiny little Allen key bolt down here, which makes it a bit fiddly, but that goes in there. Start that screw in there. 2mm Allen key just starts this in. It's a bit fiddly. Like that. And then basically the hose just clamps in here. Just click this together. Oops. Just get the hose in here. Like that. And then the silver bit clamps it in together like this. So you can put this wherever you want. You can have it down here, but try and put it against the frame. It just looks a bit better. And then just tighten this 2mm up. And that should hold it in place perfectly, like this. There you go. I'll just tighten this up a bit more. I wish they're a bit bigger than 2mm, that'd be a bit better. 2.5, 3mm. Just hold it in place while you tighten that in case it spins. But you can't get much torque with a 2mm, that's the problem. And it just rounds out very easily. Alright, that's not going anywhere. So a pretty good solution really. Let's clamp that nicely and keeps it out of the way. So I'll just fit 3 more of those across the top tube. And we've gone through this on the back. And I'll just use the cable tie down here after we took the sticker off just to clamp this out of the way a bit more. I think these are from Amazon, but you get them anywhere. And again, AliExpress is going to be your best bet for something like this, because the ones on Amazon are going to be exactly the same. Just twice the price after they've been marked up. Same product. I'll put a link below for whatever I can find. I think you get them in all sort of jazzy anodized colours as well. So there is a little bit of slack. We could have done with another one here really, but I'll probably just add a small cable tie just to tidy that up. But apart from that, it's pretty good. So we're basically fitted here now, all the way through to the lever. So now we just need to bleed it, which is easy. Obviously when you are bleeding this, you need the back end of the caliper lower than the lever basically. It already is, but if we can just position the bike a bit better. Obviously being a tandem it's a bit more challenging, but I'll try and tip it up a bit more. I'll just clamp this on here and here. Extend this out. This is a part tool one, it's a really good tool actually. Extend that out, and then these bars are not going to keep spinning around. So drop this right down to the floor so I can actually reach the lever. Obviously don't hit the floor, but we'll keep it going down until it's closer. Excuse my safety crocs. Right, down to about there. Now I can physically reach the lever, which is a bonus. Again, get it level. I've not tightened this down, so get it level. That is level, just camera angles making it not look level. And again, just take the bleed port out, another 2mm. Take the O-ring out, make sure that comes out. Get that somewhere safe. Fit a bleed cup to that. I always use Shimano bleed cups where possible because they're plastic. The reason being is if you damage something, you're going to damage the cup rather than the expensive lever. It's because plastic thread will just get damaged if you hit this or something. If this is a steel piece or aluminium piece, you might potentially damage the lever rather than your cheap bleed cup. Just put a drop of fluid in there, just to seal the system basically. For the caliper end I also use the Shimano kit because this little piece here fits in the caliper perfectly well with a little pin, so that's why I use that. What we do then is pull this little rubber cover off. That's just the bleed port, keep that. Most of them go missing, but don't worry about it. Push this into the caliper. That's how the Shimano kit is brilliant, it just fits straight in there. And loosen off this bleed port here. It's 3mm, just crack that open. So about half a turn-ish. Don't take it all the way out. Open the clip, and then we're just going to push this through here to the lever. I can't possibly see that cup. Luckily I can see it on my camera though. There you go, tons of air coming out there. Oh, loads. So all we're doing is clearing the hose here itself, so This is going to be quite challenging to sort of pump the lever at the same time. So I'm just going to have to keep doing it like this. I might be able to reach. Don't empty your syringe, but you've got to get plenty of fluid in there just to clear that hose through. And that seems to be about it from what I can see on my screen. Yeah, not bad actually. Just going to flick that lever a few more times if I can reach. Yeah, I can. And then just a few more bubbles there. There you go, that's good. Just going to close the bleed port now. I had to buy new 3mm Weeha Allen keys. I wore the other ones out. The ball end was worn out. These are Weeha magic rings, so it's got a little clip on the end. Basically it holds bolts, really nice. I would highly recommend Weeha. Not Weera, Weeha. Amazing Allen keys. Put this port back in, plug. Right, good. I'm just going to slacken this lever off a little bit more and basically rotate it so for 45 degrees to see if any more air wants to come out. The shifter's in the way, and just move the shifter a bit. So just drop it down here, don't spill the fluid, and then just burp the lever. Feels really good anyway. And then all the way back again. You get the odd one or two more bubbles. Just do that like this. This lever feels fantastic. Okay, good. Just going to loosely nip this up again. Bung this up. Take it off. You spill a drop, but obviously it's only mineral oil. It's basically baby oil really, so you're not doing any harm. Unlike dot fluid systems where you've got to be very careful. Tighten that up very, very loosely. It's literally just sort of that much. 1 or 2 Newton meters. I wonder if anybody actually uses a torque wrench for that. I'm sure some people do. No harm in being super careful, I guess, but just be careful really, don't go crazy. It's a tiny little bolt into a piece of aluminium. So that lever feels beautiful now. Get the wheel back in, get the pads bedded onto the rotor disc, and we're done on that one. Just repeat on the front. What we can do now is basically, we'll put this grip on now, get it in its right place, then we can tighten these into their final position. I'm just reusing the old grips because they're actually in pretty good condition. So lengthwise, we do need to move things in a little bit temporarily. So we're just going to put some lacquer in here. You can use hairspray, isopropyl. I use clear lacquer, it's fantastic. Just spray it inside the grip and whack it straight on. Like that. Get it on. Dries pretty quickly, so get it in place. Like that. I used to use hairspray all the time, but it let me down a few times, so I upgraded to a clear lacquer like this. Never let me down yet. Even the most stubborn spinning grips eventually succumb to the clear lacquer. Always make sure you put your end plug in as well. Done. I bought a new GoPro as well, just to try and get 2 camera angles on other things. Hope it works out. Give yourself some slack, otherwise it's a bit tight to get things in and out when on these mounts. What comes out. Just thread them back up. There you go. Drop your little Allen key through here just to line things up. Don't fit your new split pen here. It's brand new. And just bend the end over slightly. Like that. Done. Now we can get the wheel back in. Just nip these back up first actually before you forget. Now I can put the wheel in. It should stay in now. We shouldn't be needing to take this out again. Get it between your pads. Get your quick release. Tighten that down like that. We're in. We do need to centre it, but that's no big deal. And it's just a case of squeezing the lever a few times to get the pads bedded in. That feels really nice. Need some centering work, but stops on a dime. So to centre it, it's just a case of undoing these 2 5mm, balancing it so you can see daylight through the middle. So all the stuff where you're squeezing the lever on, where you loosen it. If you're very, very lucky it works, but in reality it works about 1–2% of the time, trust me. It's easy just to do it like this. All I'm doing there is basically iron them. I can see light through there. Just take your time. Like that. Done. No rubbing. Tighten them back up properly. And that's on. Don't forget your pointless safety clip as well. Feels beautiful. Look at that. On a dime. A penny. I did find some rubber covers from an old fork. They just push on there. So I'll just get this fitted. Like I say, the only difference is this hole here. I do need to disconnect the hose from the caliper and put a new barb and olive so I can go through this hole. So I don't know if you can see, but this hose has got a twist in there now. As it's done the nut up, basically, it sometimes twists it in. That's why you grease it, but even then, sometimes it does. So all you need to do there is just drop the lever off the bar, turn the lever through, flip the lever around until this hose is straight, and that's got rid of it. Flip that out, turn it around, and then get that back on, and your hose is nice and straight now. Easy. They're not too bad at the moment. What I'll do is I'll do the internet myth. Squeeze them on, hold the lever on. If you're very, very lucky, this will work, but in my experience, it never works. Right, so just nip them up. Today we got lucky, centered. Right, so tighten them up. Good, so that's the front one on. Just a bit of mineral fluid spilt on this tyre. I'm quite tempted to put some slicks on here. I'll see if I've got any used slicks that I can put on. It's going to be a lot more road friendly then. I mean, potentially you could go off-road on a tandem, but I don't know how popular that is. It'd be good to have the capability to swap between two tyres though, which you can on this with a standard 26-inch rim. Just get this grip on as well now. And we can position these levers to where we want them. That's there. Make sure this palm bit is level with the other side. It's just a bit of a rest for your hand. Wipe any lacquer off that's coming out. So now we can set the angle of this brake lever. So you want it at sort of nearly a 45-degree angle so it's more comfortable. Don't have it level, it's just crazy. You don't want these super tight, you want them to be able to move if you have an accident, otherwise you're just going to snap the lever off. Obviously tight enough so they're not spinning in normal use, but if they take a good whack, they should be able to spin on their own wheel. So don't go crazy with them. And just drop the shifter where it should be. Just try not to touch the lever, just leave a couple of millimetre gap there. And then tighten that up. Good, same on the other side, they're pretty much actually where they're supposed to be at the moment, so I'll just tighten those up. So that's the front end back on, shifter's on, I'm just going to put a bell on here now as well. I'll leave the reflector, no harm in that. So this bell is the Rock Brothers, and if you saw I did a video on bells as a comparison, and this was absolutely phenomenal. The best bell you've ever heard, it's so loud, it's crazy. Might need some padding around the bar because it's a skinny old bar. But if you get this on, honestly, it's a fantastic bell. Just use the rubber strip that you get with it. You get these with anything, they're all pretty much the same thing. And then just pad it around to the bar there. Spin it around, get your bolt in. Anyone can fit a bell. Get it to where you want it, and then we tighten it up from the bottom. I don't think it's the most aero bell in the world, but wow, it's loud. Brilliant bell. I'll tighten that up so it doesn't spin on the bar. Like that. You ready? Awesome, absolutely amazing. So I did decibel test. I did a decibel meter test from distance, and it's by far the best bell. You're going to hear that coming, that's for sure. Alright, that's that done. Next up we're going to change this seat post for that suspension one. So the Stoker generally has a suspension one because they can't see any potholes in the road, so they're not able to prepare for them like the Captain is. Alright, so that's that loosened off. Look how long this is, absolutely huge. Obviously you can't use all of it, but the probably safety mark is probably about here. Oh my god, it's huge. No one's ever using it like that, trust me. That's massive. I guess on a higher bike you need a lot of adjustment, so it's probably a bit overkill though. This is a ZTTO suspension post. This was like £12–13, absolutely crazy price, so cheap. There's your minimum insertion mark there, so that's as high as this will go. Which should be ample for most people. So let's just get a bit of grease on here first. Alright, drop this in, get grease up to your insertion point at least. Like I say, it'll cover itself as you go in there anyway, so let's set this somewhere sensible. And that's in. Don't get much easier than that, does it? Just got to fit the saddle to it, which can be a bit fiddly. Alright, it moves. Cool. I absolutely hate fitting saddles. Hopefully this one's not too bad, but they're so fiddly. You need like 6 pairs of hands half the time. This one might go in okay. This is a micro adjust one. I don't know how anybody makes any money on this, like £13. It's just insane. This is the saddle, it's the original Dawes saddle, so it's actually in really good condition. So we just got to slide this in between the rails. You take this out, you take one all the way out. Honestly, it's just the fiddliest thing in the world, saddles are. Right, that's sort of on. Boy, I hate saddles. So just use the micro adjust, tighten down the front one. Get it somewhere central, somewhere level. And then tighten them both down. Alright, that's not bad. Suspended. A couple of little plugs that will just seal these holes up. You can get nice fancy anodized ones, but this will do the job. A bit better. That's that. Right, I'm going to try and get some of these stickers off now. I'm going to heat them up first with my genuine part tool heat gun. Not. Just get some heat on it, then I've got a plastic razor blade. It's really good for this sort of thing. And then just some sticky label remover. Hopefully it should come off no problem. So I'll just crack on with this. It's going to be the most boring thing in the world to watch. So I'll see you when they're all off. Right, that looks loads better. Obviously the paint under the stickers was in really good condition as well, so I was just a bit nervous there might be some of them like security proof stickers you can't get off and it'd be a nightmare, but that's not took very long at all, and it's cleaned up really nicely. It looks so much better without those stupid stickers on it. But what we're going to do now is cable tie this to the frame. I'll show you how to do it properly. So I see so many accessories really badly cable tied on. This is the sort of thing I'll see like that, loose, and then we'll cut this at the sharpest possible angle we can and we'll leave it like that. You know how to fit a cable tie. This thing's razor sharp. You're going to be pedalling past this and it's going to slice your leg open. I'm exaggerating slightly obviously, but you know, almost every single accessory I see, like computers and stuff, that's been cable tied on is done like this. It's not even tight, it's the wrong colour, and it's razor sharp, so don't do that please. I'll show you how to do it properly. Firstly, use a more suitable colour, so black's going to be a good match on this. And if you've got one, use a cable tie gun like this. This will put it on really tight and cut a completely flush end at the bottom. And make sure you match this bit as well. You know, you can have that one there or the other way around. So get them the right way around. Well, it's not a wrong way around, but get them both the same way around. So they're going to match like this. And then we're going to space it evenly between the two cable stops. So you've got one here and one here. We're going to put one here and one here kind of thing. Tighten them loosely. Make sure you get your hose where you want it. Really, I want this cable tie to finish on the other side of that hose though, so we don't see anything. Like that. And we can pull this hose through the back a little bit, just to keep it nice and tight. That's down there, that's down there. And then you use a cable tie gun here. So the idea of this is you'll thread the tail of the zip tie through there, cable tie, pull that, and it will pull the tension as you do it. You can adjust how much tension you want on it. And when it's finished, it will be completely clean cut. So I'll demonstrate on something else because I can't really show you where this is going to be. So on this can here, imagine this is the top tube. So basically this, you push this tool open here. You just push this forward, the handle, to open these jaws. Thread the cable tie in there like that. And pull it through and you'll hear it clicking tension on it, which is adjustable. It's like a rivet gun basically. And then do that. And then once it's tight enough to where you set it on the back dial, it'll cut this off completely flush like that. And there's no sharp edges on there whatsoever now. So that's how you fit a cable tie. If you don't have one of those, at least use some side cutters and cut it completely flat like this so there's no sharp edges there. I know it's only a small job, cable tying, but the difference between doing it right and doing it wrong is not difficult, and it makes a big difference. They're quite subtle, fairly discreet. If you're going to use them, then do a half decent job. Well, that's not going anywhere there. Alright, that's done. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a polish now. Furniture polish is great if you've got it. You can use special bike polishes if you really want to waste your money, but this does a good job as well. Comes up lovely. So I'll just give it a quick wipe down. So I do have a lightly used set of Schwalbe Marathons, so I'm going to put these on. These are 2-inch, so they look pretty good on a mountain bike. So I'm just going to quickly swap these over. Oh yeah, it looks loads better. I'll get the other one on the front. Obviously, I'm going to just drop this cable tie on here. I forgot to do that one. Good. Let's get the front one changed as well. I'm going to show you how to advance the brakes. You might have heard that term before. If you've got quite a long lever travel like this, it doesn't need bleeding, it's rock solid lever, it's just quite a long travel. If it was spongy, and you could, I mean, I'm pushing that really hard, but if you could pull it back to the lever as a sort of spongy mess, or you pump it and the travel gets longer, and it needs bleeding. This is just a long lever. So what you can do is advance the pads in the caliper. Basically what we do is take the wheel out, press this lever once. What it will do is move the pistons forward within there, because they've got slight square seals, so they're basically flexing on the edge of the square seal. So you've got to go past that sort of flex into its next sort of home position, and then the pads will basically move forwards. So what you need to do is drop the wheel out. You don't even need to take it all the way out, just enough so you can clear the rotor from the pads. All you want is the rotor not touching the pads, basically. You don't need to take it all the way out, but as long as you've got enough room. So drop that out, press this once, don't keep pumping it, whatever you do, just press it once, all the way to the lever, let go, put your wheel back in. This goes against everything you see about pumping levers with no disc in it, but this is how you do it. And you'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Section in Schramm's manual on how to advance the pads, same thing. So all I've done is press that once, put the wheel back in, and you can see the lever travel is much improved. Still rock solid. Go much further, you'll probably get it, but you'll struggle to get the rotor back in. And the pads will self-center, so that's much better. So I've done both these levers, they're quite a nice travel now. Might get a little bit more on this front one. The back one's lovely, look at that. But they're both rock solid. I'm going to do one more on this front one, push my luck. If you go too far, you can just push the pads back in and start again. If you do it too much, you're going to end up popping the pistons out of the caliper. One more, that's it, no more. Let's have 2 pumps with the wheel out, and look at that, that's reduced it from sort of here to there now. Much better, that's a perfectly good lever there. Rock solid, good. These tyres are a big improvement really, it's going to make it much more sellable. Sort of off-road mountain biking, how many people do that on a tandem, I don't know, it's pretty niche. Whereas these are a lot more street appropriate, so basically a semi-slick tyre. So that's going to make it much more sellable. Here we just refit this handlebar, dead easy, just hooks in here. Like that. One in there. You hook it in, then one in there. Put it back to where you want it, get your bolts in. Trans-X, this is, I don't see many Trans-X bits, these used to be pretty popular. I don't see many nowadays. Get this to a sensible angle. You can kind of see where it used to be. I've just been for a very quick spin around on this, and it's actually, even on your own, it's good. Brakes are fantastic, which is a result, that's kind of the whole purpose of doing this. And this one here is to adjust the angle of those bars, so you can put that where you want. So I'll basically put it somewhere I can get the Allen key in really more than anything. Otherwise it's a bit challenging. So there's an end plug missing in here. We do need to fit these. Probably not so much a risk on this, but on normal bikes, if this swings around and hits you in the stomach, yeah, you got a hole in you. Done. So that's another one done. Hope you enjoyed that. It's something a bit different, I guess. A tandem, you don't see many of these being worked on. Just because it's a tandem, the principle of upgrading to hydraulic brakes on the bike is going to be the same on any bike, really. The only limitation sometimes is these integrated shifters, but I've showed you sort of £18 on AliExpress. As far as I'm concerned, these are legitimate Shimano units. And also, again, like I say, I've found MT200 hydraulic brakes on AliExpress. Full bikes are £30, so £30 for your brakes, £20 for your shifters, £50 all in to upgrade to hydraulics. Pretty good price, really. If you've got the mounts for it and your wheels are compatible, it's a no-brainer, really, to be fair. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Something slightly different. I've got to try and sell it now. So hopefully I can get it sold by the time this video drops. It's probably about 6 weeks away from now. But if not, anybody in the UK actually wants it, then get in touch, because I'll probably still have it. Thanks very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.